What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel and welcome to another custom tactics video. And we are talking about something similar but different. So I will get into all of that. But yes, it is a 4-2-1-3, a very popular setup that I'm coming to realize in eFootball, especially for those who actually want to play football, right? Because, as my man Boomfa said, it might be low-key a pencil dick formation, as I call all of the through ball spammers that use quick counter and no width in the field, but it performs entirely different. But where is it different, right? Because the playstyle is long ball counter, and even though quick counter is a typical go-to through ball spamming playstyle, long ball counter still can be used for all the rats out there. So if we're using long ball counter, you see the setup, it looks just like a pencil dick formation for all those quick counters, through ball spammers. What's the difference? Well, let's start with the name, 4-2-1-3 Orchestrated Creativity. And I get that name from two players in their playstyles, and that would be the orchestrator, which is Pedri in the case of my team, who is a CMF in this setup, and deceivingly represents the 2 in the 4-2-1-3, right? He goes along with Paredes, even though Paredes is an anchorman and a true number 6, a true CDM. But they put Pedri as part of that. That's just how eFootball does it. And then the creativity part comes from the creative playmaker, which in this case is Phil Foden for my squad, who sits just in front of Pedri. And even though they are straight up and down, right, in a straight line, obviously on the pitch in the game they move around some. But this gives you an idea of how the flow of play goes, which is from the defense, which is the back four plus Paredes, into the offense, which is Foden, plus my three-pronged attack of Mbappe, Batistuta, and Owen. Pedri orchestrates the transition from defense into the offense, and then he puts the ball into Foden's hand as our creative playmaker. Now, obviously, Pedri can bypass Foden, play it to Mbappe, Batistuta, Owen, maybe an overlapping Theo Hernandez sometimes. But at the end of the day, Phil Foden in the creative playmaker spot for the team is going to be the one we look to for chance creation. And then the front three will be the players we look to score goals. Now, it doesn't mean Foden can't finish himself, or even Pedri at times, or even Theo Hernandez, who can come up and overlap from the left back position. Now, he is a fullback finisher and not an attacking fullback. So instead of just running up and down that left wing, he actually comes into the middle and helps out as an extra central midfielder. So he's just another outlet pass or a potential goal scorer or crosser. Just because he's a fullback finisher doesn't mean he won't overlap and go into the same spot as an attacking fullback at times for the cross. However, there is a reason that he has the shooting skill sets that he does, including the infamous knuckle shot. So even though he has lower finishing, those extra shooting skill sets, they do help out. It's just a unique setup with a unique left back, and Theo is an absolute beast at fullback finisher. I always like the attacking fullbacks better in other football games that I played, but having a fullback finisher in eFootball, especially when you like to pass and move and you're just not spamming through balls, it is an absolute godsend in that central part of the field to try to outnumber your opponents and try to keep the ball, especially when you have a lot of pressure on you. That extra player to help, for instance, Paredes and Pedri getting the ball into the attack is huge. And because Theo has an attacking aura about him, we went with 3 center backs. Even though Koundé is technically a right back, you are able to push your wing back into a center back role if he has the ability to play that position, which Koundé does. He can play right back and center back. And what this does is it turns him into a no-play style center back. So he's a defensive fullback already, which means that he would be staying home for the most part. However, being a no-play style center back is just a little more defensive than a defensive fullback, who sometimes those players still do tend to push up. You can put individual instructions on them. However, if you can push a player like Koundé into center back, why not do it? So we have 3 absolute units in the back. Joining Koundé would obviously be Van Dijk, who is a build-up center back and an absolute monster. And then Van Boyten, who is our newest signing and an absolute destroyer, which is his play style as well, and he fits the bill. A unit of a man at 197 centimeters. He is an aerial monster that can also win tackles, and believe it or not, he can distribute the ball very well despite very low passing stats. And he doesn't feel bad with the ball at his feet despite very low dribbling, very low agility. So all around, just an excellent center back. And as your center back pairing, whether it's in this 4-2-1-3 setup or any setup, I think one destroyer, one build-up center back is huge. Not to mention, if you can push one wing back into a center back position like I did with Koundé, being a no playstyle center back beats out a defensive fullback. Just remember that, especially if you have one attacking fullback, whether it's a true attacking fullback or a fullback finisher. Whichever way, I think that the other side needs to be at least a defensive fullback or preferably a third center back. And so with defense out of the way and talking about the orchestrated creativity, right? From Pedri for me into Foden and whoever it may be for you, into the glory getters of the team, right? The goal scorers. And in this setup, we have a three-pronged attack. But despite looking like two wingers and one center forward, it is actually all three forwards, with two being center forwards, one being a secondary striker. And the only reason it's not three center forwards is because you can't put three center forwards in eFootball. So what type of players do you want to look for in your setup? For me, I go with Mbappe as one of my two center forwards. Even though he could just as easily be a secondary striker with Owen being the second center forward, Mbappe with this particular card just doesn't have the ability yet. I'll eventually get him the ability to play that secondary striker role. And the biggest difference is that advanced striker, which is his playstyle, does not trigger as a secondary striker. But he has excellent offensive awareness and excellent finishing, which are two of the most important attributes of this position, because we obviously want him to score goals, and to score goals, he needs to be in the right position. Now, he also has the ability to play both left and right wing as a no-play style winger. So, in certain circumstances, if we want him, for instance, to push out wide left as an actual winger, he can absolutely do that. For whatever reason, he just can't play secondary striker. So even though this isn't one of the best Mbappe cards, he absolutely has all of the best attributes that a great Mbappe card would have, including being excellent off the dribble. He can beat any defenders, he can finish the ball, and he is right up there alongside his partners who happen to be double boosted Epic cards, who we signed from that Worldwide Epic event, the free Worldwide Epic event. We got a pick with Van Boyten, we got Batistuta from the free pick that we get for being a new account, and then we got Owen out of just one of our random worldwide polls. So not a bad start to the road to glory, as I've already said. But getting back to that tactics, Michael Owen, our secondary striker, who is operating with no play style. As I said earlier, he's an advanced striker, can't play three center forwards. So Michael Owen is the man to play secondary striker, just due to the fact that Mbappe can't. And it works out perfect because that high offensive awareness as a no-play style secondary striker, his positioning is phenomenal. He's right up there with Batistuta and Mbappe. And while all three are going to make darting runs because that's what they're triggered to do in a long ball counter, we win the ball, that triggers them to make long runs. However, that's exactly where our play style comes in, the orchestrated creativity, because we use super cancel to call them back to feet, which creates space between them and the defender, because the defender is chasing them away when they're making their long runs. You pass the ball, super cancel, boom, you come to. Now you actually have space, which makes this, in my opinion, if not, I believe it's a fact, honestly, but I'll say my opinion, it is better in possession than the actual possession playstyle, because the possession playstyle, you'll be dribbling, you'll have players just standing there facing you with defenders right on them, not moving at all. It's nonsense, it's not realistic. What do you do in games? You take the defenders away from the space you want to receive the ball, and then you come back. Or you fake coming short and then make the long run. You cannot just have a player standing there wanting the ball at their feet 5 feet away with the defender on him. It makes it super easy to defend. So all three of these players are making great runs. Sometimes you can play them through if it's on, but most of the time you're going to call them back with a super cancel, and then they're going to either lay it to Foden, lay it to Pedri, or play 1-2 amongst themselves, maybe from Owen to Batistuta and back, or from Owen all the way through. Batistuta kind of takes the defenders away. Owen slips it all the way through to Mbappe. I mean, there's so many sequences, and it is a beautiful setup, and Owen does it fantastically. Not to mention, when he turns defenders, it is something special. I mean, it is smooth as a whistle. He will turn a defender inside out and get in on goal all on his own, just like Mbappe can do. Now, Batistuta is a different story. All three share the advanced striker playstyle, and Batistuta, being our other center forward alongside Mbappe, has that playstyle turned on. However, he is not as agile. He's not as good on the dribble as an Mbappe or a Michael Owen. So what is he looking to do? He's looking to make runs in behind, or if he gets balls to feet, he is looking to immediately lay it off or play 1-2 with his counterparts, either Mbappe or Owen. He is not going to be turning defenders inside out or beating them on the dribble. But he is excellent in the air, which is where Owen and Mbappe aren't that good. So having Batistuta up top is huge because of knockdowns and obviously scoring crosses, scoring corners and stuff. That's great too. But those knockdowns, like winning the ball on a goal kick or winning the ball on a clearance, come in handy way more than most people think. It gives you the chance to win the ball and create another attack, when otherwise the center back would win the goal kick or clearance or whatever, and your opponent would be able to get an attack. So you're going to get a lot more of the ball, a lot more chances to create and score goals when you have a good aerial presence like Batistuta up top. So you might not have the exact players that I have, right? This is my free-to-play RTG, but you can absolutely match up players with similar roles, similar play styles, and if not, you can tweak this setup with the players that you do have, or tweak this setup to match how you want to play. I can tell you this though, this 4-2-1-3 is great for playing beautiful football without a doubt. Long ball counter is absolutely the best play style in the game, in my opinion. I think it does better at possession than possession. I think it does better than quick counter. At quick counter, meaning you can absolutely quick counter in this setup, not spamming through balls, but let's say you have an opponent that's overly aggressive, that's constantly trying to run at you, pulling his players out of position. Then you are able to play those long balls over the top, and your attackers will be immediately making those long runs when you win the ball. So it works out there, and it's better at possession than possession, just like I said earlier. Instead of the players just standing 5 yards away from the ball carrier or coming towards the ball carrier, they actually run away, taking the defender away from where they want to receive the ball. Then they come back too. Now you have to trigger this with a super cancel, but you get that invaluable space between the defender and the ball receiver to then turn and take on the defender, or turn and have time to make a decision as to what you want to do next. It is a perfect play style, and this is a perfect setup. So you can take this and match up the players you have to the roles that I showed you in each position, or you can take this 4-2-1-3 orchestrated creativity and make it your own. Tweak it to match your playstyle. So if this ends up working out for you, please let me know in the comments section. Please leave a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you want more football talk, more feedback, join my Discord, which you can find the link in the bio. No matter what, just make sure you're having fun, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.